2025's Best Game of Thrones replacement show is underway, and it's more exciting than any of the fantasy shows in recent years. Following Game of Thrones ending in 2019, there's been a significant uptick in fantasy adaptations trying to capture its success, from The Wheel of Time to The Witcher to The Rings of Power. Don't get me wrong, I love the books that those shows are based on, so I was thrilled to see them get their chance on the small screen. However, I never saw them as the perfect replacement for Game of Thrones, as there are singular qualities to the HBO adaptation that made it so enthralling. King and Conqueror is 2025's most exciting GOT replacement. King and Conqueror features Game of Thrones stars. The BBC and Paramount are deep in production on a new historical epic TV series called King and Conqueror. The story will examine one of the most pivotal moments in world history, the conflict between King Harold and William the Conqueror, set in 11th century England. This series will involve medieval warfare on a vast scale, political and familial drama, and an impressive cast of actors, including 2 Westeros stars. Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who played Jaime Lannister in all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, will likely be the most exciting name for fans of the HBO fantasy series. Coster-Waldau co-stars alongside James Norton, an experienced actor who appeared in 2019's Little Women and who will play a prominent role in House of the Dragon Season 3 as Ormond Hightower. King and Conqueror will also star Clemence Poésy, Harry Potter, Emily Beecham, Into the Badlands, and more. King and Conqueror could continue to revive the historical epic genre. Shgun, Chief of War, and now King and Conqueror. James Norton as Harold Earl of Wessex wearing period costume and crown with a horse. BBC. The genre of historical epics has come and gone multiple times in Hollywood, but it's been dormant for some time. Following Gladiator and Braveheart, there was a wave of similar movies in the early 2000s. Now, King and Conqueror follows a wave that seems to have stemmed from Game of Thrones. Influence can be tracked from Game of Thrones to shows like Marco Polo and The Last Kingdom, but more recently, the Emmy juggernaut Shgun is what comes to mind. 2025 will offer 2 more exciting additions to the genre in Jason Momoa's Chief of War and the aforementioned BBC medieval drama. Historical epics are even more exciting than the fantasy boom. There are so many great historical stories to be told. Cosmo Jarvis as John Blackthorne stands on a beach with a sword in Shogun Season 1. Shows like The Wheel of Time and The Rings of Power can be counted in the same genre as Game of Thrones, but they are vastly different in tone and their potential audience pool. Game of Thrones is undoubtedly a fantasy series, but its low magic, political-focused aspects allowed it to appeal to a broad audience. Shgun is possibly the most exciting series to stem from Game of Thrones' influence yet, drawing from both an iconic fiction novel and fascinating real-world history. These are the shows that can really focus on the down-and-dirty war, politics, and character drama like Game of Thrones did.